Hey guys, it's QwertyQwertz here, and today I'll be showing you how to solve Rubik's clock. So basically we'll sort of go over like how the clock actually works, because it's kind of confusing at the start, and then I'll go over the actual individual steps on how to actually solve them. Okay, so the three main terms that we're using in this video, so we have all four of the pins, we also have all the clocks, all 9 of them, and there's 4 gears on the outside. So I guess we'll get into how the clock actually works itself. So basically these pins can go up or down, so currently they're all up, so you can like push certain ones down. So let's say you have one up on one side, so we have the top right one up here. So each pin is allocated to one gear, so the gear closest to the pin is the one you're going to use. So this pin here will be this gear, this pin that gear, this pin is that gear, and this pin is that gear. You could have more than one pin up, and then you could use any of the gears. So let's say you have all of them up, any gear would work. Sometimes some people have 3 up, so you have these 3 up here. You can't use this gear, so as long as one of the gears you're using is connected to one of the pins you have up, that's fine. Let's just start off with one pin. So we have this pin up here. So we're going to use this gear because it's right next to the pin, and you can turn it. So the ones that will turn, so let's say you have one pin up, the ones that will turn are only the ones around the pin. So since we have this one up, there'll be these 4 here that turn from that gear. If you have 2 up here, it's going to do all the ones around the pin, so it's these 6 here. So you could use this gear here, because it's allocated to this pin. Or you could use this gear here, because it's allocated to this pin. So either one works. This is also going to be useful for later on, so when you have 3 up, and you turn one of the pins, it'll do all 8 of the pieces, except the one you have up. And when you have all of them up, it's going to turn all the clocks. So I'd say just like have maybe 10 minutes or so, just do something like watch a video in the background or something, just try and play around with it if you haven't really sorted it out yet, and then you'll kind of understand how it mainly works. Okay, so now I'll actually go into each individual step and like briefly explain how to do it. Okay, so now our clock is scrambled, and I'll briefly show you how to solve it, and then I'll do some more in-depth stuff later on. So basically the first step of solving it would be to do one cross on one side. So you would end up, so we get something like this. We have all 5 centerpieces here, all facing one direction and facing that little red 12 o'clock. And the corners wouldn't matter. Then you would flip over and then do this cross here. And once that's done, you have all these clocks facing 12 o'clock here, and still preserving the other side, having it still facing 12 o'clock. And then the last step you need to do is doing the corners. So once you do the corners, it'll actually do it on both sides, so you don't need to do corners on both sides, just one side. So we'll do corners here. And then once you do the corners on one side, it does it on the other side. So it probably looks very, very easy even if you don't know how to do it. And that's because it is really easy. It's probably the easiest WCA event, honestly. Takes very, very short time to learn because there's no algorithms or anything. It's very, very simple. So we'll do another scramble and then we can do an actual example solve. Okay, so now the clock is scrambled on both sides. So the first thing to look for in a solve is if there's any edge pieces around here that match the center one. So this one's facing around 7 o'clock here. None of the other ones are in the same direction, so there's nothing on that side. On the other one, we've got one facing this way, and there are no other ones facing that way. So it's all good. We don't have a bar or anything. We don't have any 2 facing the same way, but we can make one. So let's just do that over here. So you just want to put one pin up. Doesn't really matter at the start. You'll get used to doing it more efficiently later on, but just solving it for now is good enough. Let's put the top right pin up, and then as you can see, it's going to turn these 4 around it. And in those 4 are included as the middle one. So basically, it's going to turn these ones, including the center one. And you just want to turn the center one to one of the other 2 edges that aren't affected by the gear. So we're just going to turn these ones until the center one matches one of these 2 that isn't turning, like that. So these 2 are now matching. And since there'll be 4 clocks affected by one of the pins, you can now put one of the pins up, so either one, that affects these 4 here, or these 4 here, as these 2 are both in it. Just make sure both of the ones you have already matched together will be in that. So these 2 match together, so I'll put this pin up here. And now it's going to turn these 4 here. So now you want to match it with one of these 2. I'd say do it with this one here. Doing it like this, doing lines is not good, it's not a good method. Until maybe later on we can do it more efficiently, but for now, try and get it like this, like an L type shape rather than a line. So we'll turn it like this. So now you have 3 here. And now the only pin you want up is the one that has all 3 of them. So now you want to put this pin up, and it's going to turn these 4, where you can match it with one of these 2. So I'm going to match it, so it's going to turn these 4, so you can just match it wherever you want, so I'm going to do it on this one. So now we have 4 together. This is when you start not doing any more 1 pins anymore, you can do 2. So since you're going to put both of these pins up, it's going to turn all 6 around here, And you want to make sure you're doing it on the right ones that you've actually already matched. So if we have these 2 pins up, it's going to match all 6 around here. So it's not going to turn that edge. It will turn all the edges except this one. So now you can match all those 4 with these ones. So now the cross is done, except it's not facing 12 o'clock. This one you can do this. Put all the pins up. It's going to, like, the corners don't matter yet, you can do it later on. We're just trying to get the cross done right now, so to put all the pins up and make it face 12 o'clock, so there'll be a little red thing here. If you're using like a Ling Ao or a Xing Shao, it might look a bit different, but you'll definitely know what the marker is if you go and have a look at it on your own one. And now your first cross is done, so now you want to rotate like this. I'd say early on you want to rotate this way. Try not to do these rotations like this. They're really inefficient, so I'd say to start off trying to do flips like this. They're much more efficient and it's probably easier to do it anyway. So now we have to do another cross, and actually we have to do it the exact same way. So one thing you want to make sure you're not doing, especially at this part, so you want to make sure you're not making any accidental mistakes while you're trying to solve the cross, such as having like one pin up like this and turning the wrong one. Because now at this point, if you do any of these, it's going to mess it up in the back. So the pins will be up on the back rather than down. And it's going to make some mistakes which you really don't want to do. So maybe when you're starting off learning it, just like double check every now and then that you're actually getting it right. So maybe be more careful on the cross on this side, just do a bit slower, but make sure you're using the gears allocated to the pins you're doing. So I'm going to put this pin up here, and once again we're going to just do it to another one here. So now I've got these 2 here. I'm going to put another pin up, only the pin up that has 4 around here, or 4 around here. So we'll do this one here. And we can do this for this one here. And now I can put this pin up because it's allocated to these 4. And these 3 edge pieces are in those 4. So now we can turn it to this one. Now we have 4 edge pieces done, we just need this one here. So now I'm going to put this pin up because it'll be these 6 here. And it won't affect that edge at all. So now you can turn it down there. And now the cross is done once again, except we don't actually have it pointed at 12 o'clock. If we flip like that, 12 o'clock will be on this side. Just make sure you're putting them all down at the marker, wherever you have it on your clock. So I can put them all up again, and then make it face 12 o'clock. Our corners might be a bit confusing, but it does get pretty easy once you start doing it. So yeah, just double check that the cross is actually done on both sides. If you've just started learning it, then it might not be, because you might have made a mistake. It's very easy to make mistakes at the start, because it is kind of confusing understanding how it works. So just double check you've done that right. And then maybe just flip it around so 12 o'clock's on top. It might be a bit easier when you start doing it. And now we're going to do a sort of like a pattern of how we're going to do the cross pieces, or the corner pieces, sorry. So we'll do the order of top left, top right, bottom right, and then top left. So basically, since we're starting with top left, you want to have all the pins up except top left. So basically, whatever corner you're doing, you want to have all the pins up except the one that you're doing that corner on. So all the pins up except top left. And that's actually going to turn all of these ones, all these pieces, except this one. So that's actually really good because we can turn every single piece to the exact same location as this one. So I'm going to turn all 8 of the pieces facing the same direction. Kind of just look at the cross however you're doing it. The cross is the easiest way to tell because the other corners won't be done yet. So now we have all 6 of these pieces matching. Now we're going to put this pin up because we've done it for that corner, and then put the next one up. So this is the next one we're doing. And make sure you're using the right gears. You might be using this gear, which is wrong, so use one of these gears up here, or down here. And you're going to turn it up to that one. Now we have all 7 of these done. Now we're going to go to this one here. So put this pin back up because we're done with that corner. This one down, and then move that one across. Put this pin back up, we're done with that corner. Last corner to do, we're going to put that one down. And then make sure all 3 of these are up, and then turn it down there. And now since we've done the cross and the edges, we can put them all up and make sure it's facing 12 o'clock. And then just double check it's done on both sides like that. So it is done facing 12 o'clock on both sides. This is kind of a more quick tutorial because it's not an overly hard event to learn. I will link a couple other videos on how to learn it in the description if this isn't too helpful for you. If this was helpful or enjoyable, please leave a like and subscribe, as it would really help me out. And if you guys do have any other questions about this, please let me know in the comments, I'll be happy to answer them. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye everyone.